next step is to talk with the Portuguese envoy as to settle peace in East Timor.
When do you hope to talk with the Portuguese?
We hope that the talking may take place at 20th this month.
Whereabouts?
About future problems concerning our country and our people.
Will both the UDT and APDETI take part in these talks?
Now we want to talk to the Portuguese government, and because we want to decide future. We are waiting for the Portuguese government reply, as you can talk to the Portuguese government envoy.
But you want independence right now, don't you?
As you know, since the beginning, we asked for 10 years' time, divided into 5, 3, and 2. But as the Portuguese government told us that it was impossible for Portugal to maintain such a long time in the colonization of East Timor on account of Portugal's economic situation, so we reduced the time to 5 years' time, 3, 2. But even in this point, Portuguese government answered us that it was also quite impossible for them. So we reduced it for 3 years' time. Now, we hope that after our talking, we can agree with the Portuguese government as to obtain, if not 3 years' time, maybe 1 year's time for us.
If and when you do get independence, what help will you still want from Portugal?
We think Portugal, or we hope that Portugal will give some support to us. We are hoping in this place. But exactly what Portugal will do on our behalf, we are going to discuss it.
What do you think the biggest problem facing Fretilin at the moment is?
At this moment, the biggest problem is the food and the clothes, mostly for the people in the areas bitterly threatened by the war.
Do you think people are actually starving in the mountains?
Yes, in the areas like Mabisi and my own village to the sky, La Clover, even in Ermera, Likisa, all these areas, many people are now starving with food.
Well, have you asked the Australian government for help?
I made an appeal to the Red Cross, International Red Cross, for the supplies of food and the clothes. But up to now, I did not get any answer yet. But I hope that Australian people and Australian organization and even Australian government and other countries will give us some humanitarian help.
How long a period do you think you'd need the extra food for?
I think until the next crop, or maybe on the crop of the next year, 1975, because this year the time for to prepare the fields for the crops are still over already, and now the people are busy in fighting, so we could not prepare the fields to make our crops.
Yeah. Thanks.
A Fretilin é um movimento comunista, é uma frente de patriotas que lutam pela independência. Que tipo de sociedade quer a Fretilin construir no Timor Leste?
A Fretilin é uma frente ampla que reúne todos os nacionalistas, anticolonialistas, que, portanto, tem por objetivo principal libertar o nosso povo. Portanto, como eu disse, é uma frente ampla. De maneira que, neste momento, nesta fase, nós temos que... A nossa preocupação é unificar o povo. Porque o colonialismo, um dos pontos principais do colonialismo é o divisionismo. E, portanto, para destruirmos o divisionismo, nós vimos necessidade de constituir, lançar à frente essa...
The man behind the Revolutionary Front is the Political Secretary-General, 26-year-old José Ramos Horta. Like Fretilin's president, vice president and army commander, he trained for the Catholic priesthood and spent several years in a Jesuit seminary.
So if I understand Fretilin's policy accurately, you didn't really want independence now. You were going for independence at a much later date. Is this in fact a revolution which came about too soon?
What we always wanted from Portugal was the immediate recognition of the right to independence for the Timorese people. After such a recognition, Fretilin and the Portuguese government, together, we can work out a program which lead to independence in a few years' time.
The title, Fretilin, the Revolutionary Front, it sounds communist. Is it in fact communist?
Well, I have always reject strongly that Fretilin is a communist party. It is not. It is a front that unites all Timorese patriots, all nationalists, without discrimination of race, religion, of political belief. And being a front, we cannot start right in the beginning saying that we are communists. We, as a founder of Fretilin, I reject strongly any labels. Besides this, we are quite aware of our great responsibility in the maintenance of peace and stability in this area. We are quite anxious to accommodate ourselves to the political environment of the area with ASEAN and the Pacific countries like Australia, New Zealand, Fiji, and New Guinea. So, once again, I stress on behalf of Fretilin that we are not at all a communist party.
Are you yourself a communist?
No, I don't believe in totalitarian systems. I believe in democracy.
The UDT coup on August the 11th rather precipitated the whole independence movement. With 90% of the population in Eastern Timor illiterate, do you think that at the moment you are really ready for independence?
Well, any country any colony is always ready for independence, because we believe that independence is the first step towards real freedom, towards real progress. So, because the Portuguese colonialism, dominate East Timor for 500 years, and it has been proved already that colonialism doesn't serve anybody, doesn't serve any country. So we are quite ready for independence. But of course, we are also quite aware of the backward of our economy, and we would like to have some more time to work out a good program, realistic program with Portuguese government until total independence.
Is this why, in fact, the colonial building in Dili is still there, is untouched? The Portuguese flag is still flying. Would you, in fact, like to see the Portuguese return?
Yes, we still recognize Portuguese government as the only authority in East Timor.
Do you really think that East Timor can be independent when already the larger countries are starting to exert pressure? For example, you have the Australians looking for oil, you have the Japanese building hotels, you have the Indonesians just over the border. Do you really think that you can be independent?
Interdependence of the countries in the world, it is a reality. It's not only small countries that are dependent on their big powers, but nowadays most of the countries are dependent on each other because of economic or military reasons. We cannot run away from this reality. We know that we have to live with the neighboring countries. We know that we are going to have a lot of pressures to manipulate our government.
Nesta caminhada para Batugadé e apercebemos de que, na verdade, há deficiências da organização na Fretilin. Eu gostava de lhe perguntar se isso tem a ver com o facto de vocês, afinal, na guerra terem começado, nas ações militares terem começado há um mês e pouco, não é? Se tem a ver com outras dificuldades internas do movimento.
Pois, a nível organizacional, a Fretilin desde o início, pois, tem surgido como um partido tenta ser o máximo organizado. Embora parece-me a mim que faz parte do próprio avanço da luta, as contradições possam surgir a nível do partido, isso é lógico, pois neste momento nós surgimos antes do 20 de agosto já mais ou menos organizados. Simplesmente o surgimento desta fase de luta, que nós poderemos considerar luta de libertação nacional, portanto uma fase superior de luta política, realmente devemos que aceitar, pelas próprias condições, toda uma série de camaradas que até ao princípio não estavam integrados no nosso processo. Isto vai criar uma certa, talvez, desorganização de início que estamos a tentar superar, e parece-me que neste momento, pois, a organização é possível à medida em que a maior parte das pessoas começam a consciencializar-se realmente do problema que a Fretilin tenta levar à frente, portanto a luta pela libertação nacional.
Perante uma ofensiva que, segundo a Fretilin, é desencadeada por um exército estrangeiro, que capacidade têm as Forças Armadas do Timor Leste, da Instituição de Timor Leste, de resistir a uma ofensiva desse género?
Bem, neste momento, nós estamos bem apetrechado com o material que o exército português deixou cá. É claro, considerando que nós somos uma ilha e podemos, de um momento para outro, ser boicotados, pode-se dar o problema, portanto, de acabarem as munições e nós ficarmos sem as munições, e posso até pôr o problema de nós nos rendermos. Mas eu quero salientar que, quanto à rendição, para as Valentil é simplesmente impossível.
Que capacidade teriam as Valentil de, por exemplo, passarem de uma quase guerra convencional, que é aquilo que estamos a assistir agora, no momento em que fazemos esta entrevista, à guerra de guerrilhas?
Olha, nós temos muitas possibilidades de fazer, de seguir o sistema de guerra de guerrilhas, porque a própria natureza Timor ajuda a guerrilha. Portanto, eu acho que no caso de o exército indonésio cair aqui em cheio, pois a nossa solução é recolher-nos às montanhas e fazermos uma guerra de guerrilhas.